Hello there and welcome to Recon Paint Gaming. I'm Patrick. Today we are doing a reenactment of a game that Robert and I were able to play over Tabletop Simulator, but we're going to be bringing the real tanks, the real cards, and the terrain to let you know how the match went. Robert is going to be playtesting the new mouse, which just came in the new core set and also is set to have its own blister, I believe, sometime in November. You can check Gale Force 9's website, and I believe you can pre-order them now. I'm taking tanks as well, but I'm going to fall back on tanks that I'm familiar with just to see how they measure up against the mouse. But without further ado, let's go take a look at the lists. We'll take a look at the table and get immediately into the action. We're going to start with my list. We have first the Tiger 2 for 84 points, improved hardening, 6 cents, binocular telescopes, the Tiger 2 turret, the Spall liner, and also concealment, bringing the total up to 115 points. Next, we have, yes, a T-70 light tank Russian. It is 29 points with Recon for 3 points, and then Lend-Lease for 1. And then also Yaroslav Abdulov, which brings the total to 41 points. Lastly, we have the Su-122A with 3 heavy heat shells. Yes, that says light heat, but I needed an extra copy of the card. So light heat will be taking representation today. Wet ammo racks and requesting fire, which is a total of 44 points, bring me to 200. All right, we're going to start with the Hummel first because, it doesn't have any upgrades. So it's just 30 points, which means the remaining 170 points, is going to be the mouse. Starting at 128 points, we have vertical stabilizers, fill tank, CO2s, improved hardening. We have Victor Possinger. We have Philip Stroopnagel. We have Andreas Hartmann, Robert Bloch, and Bernard Noak for a whopping 170 points. So, rolling to see who is first player. I only rolled 1 hit while Robert rolled 1 crit, and Robert will be the German dice today. I will be, of course, fighting for the Ruskies. We are playing the Assault Mission. So, Robert has already set up 2 of the objectives in the corner here. I've already put out my 3 tanks, being the Tiger, the T-70, and, of course, my Su-122. Robert has his Hummel with no upgrades, the mouse over in that corner. We've chosen to take in 2 hills. We put them right in the smack dab right in the middle on either side. And then we have 4 houses with the 4 walls kind of spread out in each corner. So Robert's going to be gunning for this corner over here. And all he has to do is have 1 tank close range to both of these in order to win. Or he has to destroy all of my tanks. And the same for me. I just have to keep him from doing that. And we have 8 turns to do it. So, without further ado, let's start with the T-70 and the Recon. So, Recon states at the start of the game, immediately after deployment, this tank may make up to 2 moves. This does not actually count as movement, so you don't actually add a movement token to your tank itself, and that way you can redeploy it or deploy a little bit earlier, get a head start on your opponent, but at least this way I get my T-70 behind this wall here, see where everything moves, and then have the advantage, maybe duck them behind the house or come screaming out. I do not want to be the target of that mouse, unfortunately. Next up is Robert's Hummel. He's just kind of shimmy him in place to where it can shoot and be on the hill at the same time, but also get the cover. Just barely on, because the way that these hills work, you need at least 1 measuring arrow to fit in between the line of fire. So let's just say the T-70 is shooting. I would get the cover bonus from the hill and also hold down, because I can put at least 1 measuring stick in between this edge of the hill and my tank, and there's enough of a gap to where I get to count that. But since Robert's doing this, he's going to make it to where he can sit behind this hill, gain some cover, get hold down, but still have line of sight through the hill itself. My Su-122 is just going to sit still because of requesting fire, which states, when shooting, this tank may draw a line of sight to a target from another friendly tank. So as long as my T-70 or my Tiger can see one of his tanks, it can actually shoot from that tank or at least use that tank's line of sight to fire. And this hill does block line of sight, but I can shoot over it. So my Tiger tank is actually the next initiative because the Mouse, believe it or not, has an initiative of 7 during the movement phase. So he is going to be able to move after my Tiger tank. His Mouse also has 6th Sense, so it can decide to relocate if it wants to after everything has moved. All right. This was the favorite part about playing this match is the Mouse only gets to move 1 because the thing is just so large and it's just going to sit there. Again, Robert does have 6th Sense, but it all depends if he moves because he does have to get this tank all the way down there in order to seize objectives, as long as I don't have any tanks near it. But there it is. That's the end of the first move. So we're going to go into now some shooting, which I believe the Tiger has an initiative of 4 when shooting. The Mouse has an initiative of 5. My T70 does have an initiative of 6 during the shooting phase. So it's going to be, I believe, shooting first, but again, it is a T70. Okay. We're still in the movement phase. I decided to move with my T70 because I did not want to get shot by that Mouse. I kind of just moved him back a little bit so there was no line of sight. Also, 6th Sense did trigger for the Mouse, so he was able to stick forward just a little bit more. 1 more movement closer to the objectives here. Now we're going to go into the shooting, which the Mouse does have, so we'll show you those results right now. Okay, first up is going to be the T70 shooting, actually, because it has a base of 6, while the Mouse has a shooting initiative of 5. So T70 shot first into the Hummel, which is behind the hill, and did absolutely nothing. It missed with 3 blanks, while the Hummel rolled 6 dice because the T70 moved 3 times, so that's 3 dice, plus cover, plus the 2 movement, which is 6, so no damage whatsoever. All right, first shot from the Mouse into the Tiger. He was rolling 7 dice. I rolled a 6 because I had a movement of 2. My standard survivability is 3, plus the Tiger 2 Centurion, that's another, so that's 6 dice. And he was able to only roll 3 hits, which then changed 1 due to big gun. I rolled 3 and then re-rolled 1, so I was able to block his shot. So no damage into the Tiger, thank goodness. All right, Tiger was up next, shooting into the Mouse. I was able to roll a natural hit, crit, but unfortunately because the Mouse is just that many defense, because he got +2 for my movement, +1 for his, and then the thing naturally has 4 defense, so that was 7, which maxes out at 6. So unfortunately, he rolled perfectly and blocked my shot. Next up is going to be my SU-122. Because of the requesting fire, it gets +1 during the shooting phase, so it is at a whopping 2 over the Hummel's 1. And of course, I'm going to burn one of the heavy heat shells. So after attacking, I was able to roll 3 hits and a crit, and then big gun, due to the heavy heat shell, modified that hit to a crit. Robert rolled 3 dice because of his 2 movement and the hill, which is cover, and then that changed to or he was only able to roll 1 hit, and that's going to cancel out one of my hits. And then the hill, because of hold down, gets rid of another hit as well, so suffers 2 crits. Let's see what the crits are. The first one, track destroyed. The second one, track destroyed again. So that thing is definitely not moving next turn. Robert is going to then suffer 2 damage onto his tank, leaving it with 2 health left. Now we have the Hummel shooting at my T70, which is going to get 6 dice again, because again, the wall gives me cover, 3 movement, and 2 movement for the Hummel. Robert was able to roll 3 hits and a crit, but unfortunately the Hummel has high explosives, so only the crit's going to count when excessive damage. I rolled 2 crits, which is basically I'm going to use this 1 crit to cancel out this crit. I have to use my remaining hit or crits in my defense pool first, so that's just going to get rid of another hit. And then the 2 hits do go through, but when assessing damage, you don't apply the hits. So unfortunately, it's a wash. No damage to my T-70. The wall does get destroyed, and then we head into turn 2. So we did try the command phase for Robert to repair one of his tracks destroyed. Unfortunately, he did not repair any of them, so he definitely is not moving this turn. And starting the second turn, we roll to see who is player 1. Unfortunately, again, Robert got a hit and a crit. I rolled 2 hits, so Robert's going to be the first player. And I just want to cover real quick, it is a benefit to be the first player because the way that we do it is basically everything gets 0.5 added to initiative values. So if you have initiative 5, your opponent has initiative 5, but I have the advantage, that means my tanks are basically 5.5 for the initiative. That way you understand that my opponent's going to be moving first and then shooting after me. So it is always good to have the advantage because there are crit cards that come up that can reduce initiative or lower your initiative. There's also crit cards that can do that. So always make sure you roll before the turn starts. Don't wait. Or if you forget, make sure that you roll as soon as possible because it can affect things down the line when you are playing on a turn. And just remember that it happens at the start of each turn. And, you know, it's also bragging rights. So keep that in mind. So here we start the movement phase, but this is ridiculous. It's also hilarious. Robert started with his Hummel, or I'm sorry, I started with my SU-122 because my initiative is 1 for moving. I decided to sit still. I have the hill, the cover, so then of course the Hummel sat still, which then in turn my Tiger II sat still, so he decided to sit still, and then because he's not in any way, shape, or form in danger of the mouse because we measured last turn, my T-70 sat still. So we're immediately heading into the combat. Here we go. We're going to start with the T-70 because it does shoot first with an initiative of 6. And then we're going to head over to the mouse and then the Tiger. All right, first up is the T-70 shooting an initiative 6. Was able to roll 3 hits. It rolled 2 and then re-rolled 1 for 3 hits. Unfortunately, Robert rolled 1 hit, and that's unfortunate for me because it basically means this cancels out 1 because he still has that hill there. This is hold down, so this one goes away, and he only suffers 1 more damage, which is just going to be 1 damage token here. So he is still at 1 health, which means I'm going to have to waste another shot with my SU-122 before the turn is over. After an amazing display with the T-70, it's time for the mouse. Robert was able to roll 5 hits, was able to big gun the 5th one into a crit. He did re-roll, of course, but blanks again. I rolled 5 dice. I was able to roll hit, crit. And then because I have the Spall liner, I was able to modify one of my hits to a crit, blocking at least 4 of these. So I decided to cancel his crit with that. And then I have to choose 1 more anyways because I have to get rid of all the crits in my pool before moving on. And then they cancel each other, and there was only 1 damage going through on my Tiger. Tiger tank now returning fire into the mouse. I rolled 6 dice. I was able to get 4 hits and a crit, then modify one of the hits to a crit with the binocular telescopes. Robert rolled 4 dice because, again, he didn't move. I didn't move, and this thing has a stinking amount for defense naturally. He was able to roll 2 hits and a crit, which he canceled one of my crits. I then used 2 hits to cancel 2 of his, and he suffered a hit and a crit, which is finally damage into the mouse, and the damage is another track. We shuffled these. We swear that we shuffled these, but track destroyed on a tank that barely moves as is, and that's going to be 2 damage on the mouse. So now we're going to head into my SU shooting. All right. I did not take any chances that Hummels lived long enough. I'm spending another heat shell for my 122. I rolled 6 dice. I was able to roll into some hits and crits because I didn't move. Because of the heavy heat, I was able to big gun another hit into a crit. Robert only got 1 dice because, again, I didn't move. His Hummel didn't move. He does get cover. Robert only rolling 1 dice because of cover. That's basically it, because he has 0 survivability. I definitely blew him up. He took another 2 damage on top of some 3 different crits. None of them were track destroyed. Shocking. We had crew stunned, engine fire, and damage engine, but they didn't matter because Kaplawi and the Hummel, unfortunately, is now destroyed. All right, so that is it for turn 2. The mouse, unfortunately, with track destroyed, is no closer to gaining the objective. My Tiger with 1 damage, the mouse with 2 damage, and my other 2 tanks are perfect and healthy. So let's see if Robert is able to repair that tracks destroyed, which with one of his one of his crew cards, he gets to, I believe, re-roll. Yeah, he can re-roll an additional because he is a heavy tank. He gets to re-roll a failed track destroyed. So let's take a look. So Robert rolled 1 blank, and then he re-rolled into another blank. So unfortunately, the tracks are just too heavy. They can't get out of the tank and fix the tracks. So Robert is going to be stationary again for another turn. So let's see if he's able to survive and if he can get down to these objectives in time. So I was finally able to get player 1 or get the advantage. Robert only will 1 hit. So this turn, I'm moving at a 5. He can't move this turn. So I'm going to hopefully Sixth Sense will go off. I have my T70 and my SU-122. All right, we're going to start with my SU. I'm actually going to move it in anticipation for Robert's tank coming around. I definitely want this to block line of sight in case he does finally make it over here. I'm going to sit still with my tank because his tank can't move this turn. I'm going to hopefully trigger Sixth Sense. And in that case, we move over to the T70. We're going to get him out from behind this house here and make sure that we are out of line of sight of the mouse there. So you do need to pay attention. Certain tanks have turrets all the way in the back. Some of them have them closer up front or right in the middle. So you do measure from the center of the turret, which if you measure here, it's going to hit the house and just narrowly misses my T70. We'll see what we do with my T70, if I want to get around the mouse or not, and shoot at his back, which it's going to be ridiculously hard to do anyways. And we're going to see if we can trigger our Sixth Sense. So my Tiger was able to Sixth Sense, so I hugged the house a little bit more just so that I can get cover, because I am still stationary. Sixth Sense does not add or count as moving. And I can only see one corner of his tank measuring, so he's going to get cover as well, but we're both stationary and re-rolling attacks. But at least I'm going to get 6 defense because I have concealment with the cover plus 4 survivability, while he's only going to get 5, so I'm technically in the better advantage there. So we're going to start out because the T70 does not have a shot at the mouse. The house is still in the way. So we're going to start with actually... okay, I was actually wrong. So the T70 can see part or front of that mouse. So it is going to attack into the mouse. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to roll much. It was only able to roll 1 hit. And the mouse got 6 dice. Because it wasn't cover, was able to roll 3 hits, so it easily blocked it. So now we're going to head into the Tiger and shoot at the mouse. All right, so T70 shot. It's now the mouse's turn to shoot into the Tiger. 7 dice stationary. Robert was able to roll 5 hits and a crit. I was able to roll 4 hits, but then I have Spalled Liner, so I was able to modify 1 to a crit and block his. So therefore, 3 cancel out. I take another 2 damage. So far, Spalled Liner is really paying for itself because it is 5 points. Normally, I take things like, the CO2 tanks as well as wet ammo racks, but so far, 5 points is definitely helping me out. I'm only taking damage, which is what I want my Tiger to do. So now we can head into the Tiger shooting back at the mouse. Results from the Tiger shot, I was able to do 5 hits, which I then modified 1 with the binocular telescopes. Robert rolling 5 dice, I think actually 6, but he was only able to get 3 hits and 1 crit, so he basically just canceled my crit with his, leaving 1 left on the table. I was able to do 1 damage, death by 1,000 cuts. So Robert is Now at 3 damage out of 13 health. Yes, that says 12, but he does have the improved hardening, which makes him 13. But don't worry. We now have my SU-100, or 122. Shooting, it did move, which is not going to help me because I don't get rerolls, but let's see what happens. So the SU-122 is not going to spend a heat shell because I don't have the opportunity to reroll, which I really need to happen. So we were able to get at least 2 crits out of our 7 dice, because we do have normally 7, which is actually really good. I didn't get to modify any of these. Robert was able to roll 4 plus another one for the cover, and probably another one, some over there. He was able to roll 4 hits. That means I get to choose because he does not have any crits in his pool. So I just keep canceling till there are no hits left in his pool, which only allows 1 crit to go through, and that crit is going to be a lucky hit. And you might think that that's amazing, but if you recall, Robert does have his CO2 tokens, which basically you discard this to cancel a lucky hit. I don't take any of the damage. It just goes off to the side, and then we flip the CO2 tanks down, and we go on to the next turn. Heading into the command turn, finally, Robert rolls 1 hit. He's finally able to repair that track destroyed. He is on the move again. So turn 4, rolling for advantage. Robert rolled 1 crit. I did roll 2 hits, but it doesn't matter how many hits I rolled, as long as he has at least 1. If he rolled 3 blanks or if he rolled 1 hit, then I would have won the advantage. But Robert again winning the advantage going into turn 4. Finally, he floors it, puts the pedal to the metal, and gets to move a whopping 1. With his mouse. I again stayed stationary with the 122 and the Tiger. The T70 again is going to try. I don't know why, but he's going to try and get in close and also behind the mouse in the front arc here to reduce its defense. But he does have 6 heads, so he could end up going past me or turn around and shoot at me. All right, heading into combat. Unfortunately, I rolled a blank for my 6 heads. Robert was able to roll a hit for his, so he's able to move just a bit. He's able to move 1 more, leaving my T60 in the dust. But this is it. He's trying to get close enough to maybe score some points. But here we go, heading into combat. Okay, so we started the turn with the T70 shooting into the mouse, even though it is close, even though it's in his flank. He gets 3 plus 4, which is 7, minus 2. So he rolled 5 dice, and in which case he rolled 3 crits. My 3 hits, or my 1 hit off of my 3 dice, did absolutely nothing. So we're going to go into the mouse, shooting back at the T70. The mouse shooting back. There is 3 movement tokens, but we are close, so that's minus 1. Plus, he does have, it's either smooth ride, basically. I don't get to count his 1, so now I'm down to 1 die. He gets 7. So Robert rolled 7 dice. He rolled 4 blanks. He was able to roll 2 hits and a crit, and then big gun the other. I rolled 1 hit, which then I used my preventative maintenance, modifying the hit to a crit, which then I just canceled the crit and suffered hit and crit. So I suffer 1 damage to start. And then he has Dead Eye, which lets him choose which crit to assign after drawing the first 2 off the deck. He assigned Crew Injured. So I am down to 1 hull. My crew is injured, which got rid of Yaroslav. And now I have 1 health left, but I still have a light tank close to the mouse, which means I get +1 attack die for all of my tanks. So we're going to head now into the Tiger. Okay, Tiger shooting back into the mouse with a movement of 1. I'm still counting as stationary, so the mouse got 5 defense. I was able to roll 7 dice because I have a light tank range close to the mouse. I re-rolled and rolled. I was able to use binocular telescopes. I rolled 3 hits, 3 crits, which is huge. Robert only rolling 1 hit and 1 crit. So he was able to cancel at least 1 of my crits. I canceled 1 of his hits with mine. He suffered 2 damage plus 2 crits, which again is Engine damage and a track destroyed. We are shuffling every time. So at the end of each turn, you're supposed to take any crit cards that were canceled or fixed or repaired and shuffle them back into the deck. And we are shuffling, and unfortunately, track destroyed again on Robert's mouse, which again, he can try to repair it twice, but that's 5 damage on Robert, bringing him up to a total of 8. He's got another 5 left on that mouse. And I have yet to shoot with my SU-122. Okay, SU spending its last heat shell because it was stationary this turn. It was able to roll all of this. It did re-roll into a blank and then change 1 to big gun, so 3 hits and 3 crits. Robert got the mother load. He rolled 3 crits and 2 hits. I believe he changed 1 into a crit with small liner. So he basically is just going to cancel all of that. I cancel this, which means 1 hit goes into the mouse. This thing is a monster. So it's now up to 9 damage. It's got 4 health left. Heading into turn 5, he's got to move 1 more, and then he needs the 6th Sense, and then I have to move my tank over here to contest him, or else he's going to win. Let's see if Robert is able to make it. Probably the final turn. Here we go. Okay, command phase, where you repair some damage cards. Robert was able to he rolled a blank, and then he re-rolled into a crit because he does have the improved hardening, which lets him re-roll. Plus, he has Bernold, which lets him repair. No, which one is this? See, there's so many cards over here. One of these has repair on them. There, oh yeah, it was Bernold. Repair. This tank may make a repair to each critical card each turn, so he also rolled for engine damage and was able to fix it. So thank goodness, able to fix both of those, back online and able to move. Okay, rewatching this video has been amazing because I made so many mistakes. Again, the SU-122 is going to sit still because I have it to where, like, this corner's here. He has to get so much farther down the line in order to be able to spee me. I sat still with my Tiger because I did not win the advantage, which I have no idea why. It was a stupid mistake. Of course, the mouse is just going to trudge 1 forward, coming to here, and then I chase him down with my T-70, hopefully making him to shoot at my T-70, and I just come in this way and sit kind of sideways here with a movement of 2. Now, the reason this is so stupid is because we both have 6th Sense on the mouse and the Tiger. I am not range close to here, so I can't contest these objectives. If he was successful in rolling his 6th Sense and I wasn't, he would probably be at least to here, which is range close of both of these, and I would immediately lose as long as he didn't blow up at the end of the turn. I think what I was thinking was if he sits still, and I'm probably going to survive a shot from the mouse because he has to move. I don't. I'm going to blow him away anyways and win the game. But we've seen how tough this damn thing is. But we'll see what happens when both of them roll for their 6th Sense. All right, so I rolled my 6th Sense, and I was able to get it, so I moved. Robert did not get his 6th Sense, so unfortunately he sits there. He's almost throwing in the towel, but we're still going to play it out, see what happens, but chances are the mouse is not going to live. All right, I'm not even going to show you. The T-70 tried to shoot and did not do any damage whatsoever. The mouse is then shooting into the Tiger, was able to roll 4 hits and then big gun into another crit. I rolled a hit and a crit for defense. I did re-roll one of them because I'm a heavy tank, and it came up hit. So then I used Spall Liner, again, changing to another crit. It is paying for itself, literally. So I canceled a crit and a hit, so I only suffered 3 damage, which is putting me up, you know, I only have 9 health, so I'm already with 3 health left, but that is plenty for me to survive on to shoot back, so here we go. All right, the Tiger shot back, and this is where Robert's throwing in the towel because of my small tank that is range close to the mouse. I got to roll 7 dice with my Tiger. That was 4 hits, 3 crits because of the binocular telescopes and re-rolling because I didn't move. And Robert got to roll 5 dice because he did move once, and he has 4 still base. He was only able to roll the 2 crits. So then I get to choose, which he only had 4 health left, so I'm not even going to take a chance. Cancel those 2. 4 damage goes through, which is then just enough to blow him up, because that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that is the game. The mouse was not able to make it to the objective. Even if Sixth Sense happened, chances are it would have been the same result. He probably would have. He might have been able to get close to me and reduce my defense, maybe apply some crits to me, but it was ridiculously fun. So that was the game. Incredibly fun. Just for one mouse, as well as him having a Hummel, because we have played similar matches. I chose a different list, but he stuck with the mouse and the Hummel. It's an easy list for him to follow. It's only 2 tanks, and it was super effective. And the other game that we played, I lost because I played it completely wrong. I did not go after the Hummel immediately. I went after the mouse and just tried to chew through all that health. And his Hummel, even though it had nothing on it, was able to re-roll and get so many crits and blow up everything on my list. This time I did do it differently, to where I went after the Hummel immediately because I knew it could be a threat. It's not always a threat because of the high explosives, but in this case I knew it can be, because you just don't want to leave a tank sitting there that rolls 7 dice. The odds are not in your favor. Also, the scenario that we randomly rolled for was the assault. It probably would have been better if Robert was able to keep the tokens or the objective tokens on his side, but because of the way we rolled and how things went out, I was able to take the tokens. He had to assault me, which is not great for the mouse. So in certain situations, like, his list plays. It works. It does exactly what it needs to with the mouse. It is a monster because of its defense, because of its offensive capabilities, and the amount of cards that he put into it, to where it can repair almost everything every turn. It can cancel crits. It does have vertical stabilizers, so it can reroll one of those attack dice even when it does only move 1. So he was using that throughout the match. I just didn't mention it. I was just showing the dice results. And depending on what scenario you are using, you're going to have to figure out what you are going to have to do with that mouse. Like, where it's King of the Hill, the mouse can make it to there after a certain amount of times, but if you don't get there fast enough or immediately try to get there, chances are you're not going to make it. So you have to hustle to there. Capture the base is different. You're going to have to sit on your base and then just pick off your opponent rather than trying to make it to the other side and capture their base. So that I would offer you as a way to possibly win. And then finally, assault. I mean, there's only 4 scenarios when you randomly roll to see which one, and then there's a 50-50 chance after that to where you either have them on your side or your opponent has them on their side. If you know they're on your side, I mean, you have to move and Sixth Sense every turn with that mouse, or else, like Robert, you're not going to make it. And even if you are moving every turn, you might not make it because your health might fail and your Hummel is going to die because of what upgrades it doesn't have on it. It has to, possibly sit behind the hill and move first turn because it doesn't have requesting fire. It can't see past the hill like mine could. So there's just a lot of moving parts, even with the 2 tanks. I don't think it's the end-all be-all tank that's just going to decimate every list and win outright because of how much health it has, how much defense and firepower. Its mobility of 1 is very detrimental to it. It's not going to get Sixth Sense every single turn. Again, that's another 50-50 chance. There might be games to where you roll above that, but then there are definitely going to be games to where you roll below that. I remember back when this game started, I took the Valentine with Sixth Sense because that was the only light tank we had available. I rolled like 4 times. I got it once. It did not work at all for me. And I tried multiple times after that with Sixth Sense on the other tanks, and it worked and it didn't work. It really works on tanks that have their own mobility and their own skills to where they actually can pump out damage unlike the Valentine can. I really underappreciated the T70 because of its 2 mobility. You might have seen that I put a 3 mobility token out next to it. I wasn't moving 3 turns. I just, for some reason, I grabbed the wrong tokens and was putting it out there. And it balanced out anyways because I was rolling the correct amount of defensive dice. I really like it as a light tank. It's super cheap. You can give it some upgrades to help it with its initiative and also with its defense because, you can recon behind a wall and also with the preventative maintenance, which, again, a lot like Spall Liner. Really great card. I love it to death because it is saving me a lot of crit damage and just straight damage. Takes longer to get through your health, which I'm finding out, especially in the Tiger 2 and the Mouse. So I really am recommending those because I used to take, putting in tea on my British tanks or chocolate or the Coca-Cola, as well as the CO2 tanks and wet ammo racks and other crit canceling cards like Fire Extinguisher. Taking Spall Liner is 5 points. It's a big chunk. But again, rather than having to spend one card to possibly cancel a crit, I'm changing one of my defensive dice to cancel another crit that could come up and make it to where I don't take any crits. Because I only took one crit the entire game, and that was the crew injured from my T70. And that was after, all the other crits that I rolled. So it is not a, end all be all, I'm never going to suffer a crit. It is, you're going to delay those first few crits, and that's going to be very crucial to keep your tanks moving, keep them operating at their optimal capacity. But other than that, I could talk for days about the Mouse. I really appreciate it as a tank, even at 128 points. It is fun. It can literally just sit there the whole game and just plug shots and snipe things. It can be taken out. It does take a while, so you have to be patient and plan out your attack against this thing. With all these upgrades, I mean, this thing was shooting at initiative 5, moving at a 7, which is pretty crazy for a very cumbersome tank after all the upgrades that Robert put on it. So it was able to, because you saw the list that I took for 200 points. The only tank that really competed with it was the T70 because I had a movement of 9 and a shooting initiative of 6, but it's not a real threat to a Mouse because I shot at it twice. It did nothing. And my Tiger was moving at initiative 5, shooting at a 4, so it really didn't even do anything compared to the Mouse because I didn't want to bump up the Tiger 2's initiative because I know how much defense it has and how much firepower it has. So it can sit still. It sometimes does have to move, but it can take some shots and survive just like the Mouse can. And the SU-122, again, I can't not speak anything badly about it. It's perfect amount of health, great amount of firepower. If you load it out like I did with some ammo and requesting fire, and you set it up correctly with the houses and the hill, it can be almost invincible for the first few turns, which is amazing. And you can take out some tanks that are trying to get to you, except for the Mouse, of course. And apparently a Hummel. I couldn't kill a Hummel with 6 attack with rerolling and modifying hits to crits. But, that's just what happens. Sometimes you get the wrong information, you miss, and you just have to keep going. Don't rely on stuff like that. But we're going to keep doing games like this. I'll play Robert in TTS. If you want to see the TTS versions of the game, leave a comment below. Let us know. I'll upload those instead of doing it like this. This is faster. This goes over different rules quicker or shows you situations and scenarios. So that way, when you're playing, you know exactly what to expect or anticipate. We do get some of the rules wrong, and I try to correct them or catch them before they go into the video, because we did miss some things while we were playing, or there were different initiatives, and that's the biggest problem that I've recognized is remembering which tank moves when and shoots when, because I was shooting with my T70 after the Mouse, which was incorrect, but again, didn't affect the game because clearly I can't hit or wound a Mouse with a T70, which is pretty historically accurate. But please like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. And go check out our other videos on World of Tanks. We just did an unboxing for the new core set, which features the Mouse, the Centurion, the IS-3, and then what was the last one? Let me see, the T-29, which is the first heavy American tank. So go check that out as well. I'll leave a link above for you to check. And yeah, have a good one.